Red Bull caught cheating. Uh-oh, here we go again. So, as we head into the US Grand Prix, another technical controversy emerges, and yet again, it's Red Bull right in the middle of it. And I was ready to give them the benefit of the doubt, but what has happened? The FIA have been alerted by a team that some of the information that the FIA were given suggests that a team somewhere were using a device that allowed the front bib, the T tray at the front of the tub of the car, to be either raised or lowered between qualifying and the race. Those are parc ferme rules. You are not allowed to do that. And the FIA, when they announced that this had been happening today, said it is strictly prohibited to work on your car under parc ferme conditions. And I was happy to just leave it at that. Maybe there was a team. We didn't know who it was. I wasn't pointing any fingers. But then the BBC got hold of a Red Bull spokesman who said this. Yes, the device exists, although it is inaccessible once the car is fully assembled and ready to run. In the numerous correspondence we have with the FIA, this part came up and we have agreed a plan going forward. Okay, so I have two lines of thought on this. The first is about Red Bull, and the second is about the FIA. In terms of Red Bull, my immediate reaction to this is that it smacks of the Benetton Option 13 controversy back in 1994. If you're not familiar with that, just remember the Pacific Grand Prix, Ayrton Senna out lap one. He then stands at the side of the track and he hears something not quite right with the Benetton, something that sounds like traction control, something that's bad. And when this is looked into further, the FIA find out that deep within the software that runs the Benetton B194, there was indeed an option 13, that allowed for traction control to be used. But Max Mosley, president of the FIA, said after a hearing and an investigation that no prosecution could be brought because there was no proof that it was used. That sounds like exactly what the spokesman is saying. Yes, we had a device, but it wasn't used. But this is just another one, isn't it? Cost cap, brake bias, maybe. This seems more likely now that we've got this admission about the front bib from Red Bull. Just on and on and on. I like a team that pushes the boundaries and pushes the rules, but this seems a little bit like cheating. So that's where the FIA come in. So I think that since 2019, there have been three big controversies that should count as cheating, right? The Ferrari engine, that the FIA knew that there was a trick with the fuel flow meter that they were using that allowed them to run more fuel in the car, allowing the engine to have more power. And Ferrari would have got wins, podiums, good race results because of that system. And the FIA just gave them a fine and told them to change it. No retroactive action. Second, the McLaren Flexi Wing, the mini DRS that we know they had in Baku. Again, the rules state very clearly that bodywork cannot be made to intentionally bend. McLaren knew that that's what they were doing, but they built the system to pass the load test. But the load test isn't the rule. The rule is bodywork must not bend to give a performance advantage. And that is what McLaren were doing. So by the letter of the law, that is cheating. You can see the video that we did on this with a link at the end of this one. So I think this again falls into that category. You are not allowed to change the car under parc ferme conditions. And from what I understand from Mark Hughes at the race, the FIA told the team in question, who we now know is Red Bull in Singapore, that they're not allowed to have this system. And at that point, Red Bull agreed to take it off their car, which means that Red Bull had an advantage using this system in races prior to that. For how many, we don't know. But it has clear benefits. Allowing yourself the ability to raise the front bib means that you can have a higher ride height in the race that allows you to correct for the extra fuel that you have in the car at the beginning of the race. It stops you being able to wear out that 10% of plank that you're not allowed to wear out. It allows you to run the car lower in qualifying, allowing you to get more performance. And if it's just hundreds of thousandths of a second that are deciding positions on the grid, that is a clear advantage. And Red Bull would have had an advantage from that, knowing that what they were doing was cheating, because you're not allowed to change your car under parc ferme conditions. And now the FIA know about it. But yet again, they're not going to do anything about it. And all of those sporting advantages that they have had up until they were told to take it off the car stand. No change. Just like Benetton in 1994. How we've moved on, I don't think we have. And this is going to roll on and on. All right, just a short one from me. See you guys in the next one.